This is your host, Dub FFG, your fantasy football GOAT strategies. How's it going today? Today, we're going to talk about week 2 and recapping a little bit of week 1. Let's get to it. Now, before we get started, as you know, go ahead and hit that like and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel grow. Also, check out the links listed on our YouTube page because those are our supporters and partners for this channel. And the more you support those, the more you're going to see our channel grow and get better and better. So hit that like and subscribe button and check out our sponsors as well. Now, let's get to it. Week 1. Week 1 was very exciting. Again, it's the new season. Everything kicked off. We had a Thursday night game, very competitive, all the way down to the Monday night game, which was also very competitive. So let's get into it a little bit. First up, Detroit. Now, Detroit was no surprise to us because Detroit has been on our radar since last season. We saw them building and building piece by piece. Now they seem to be there, be where they need to be very competitive and contend for a playoff, as well as being the top of that division. So Detroit has those pieces. Like we said right after the draft, when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, that was a big piece of the puzzle, maybe the final piece of the puzzle that they need to become a constant playoff team for the next few years. The Dallas Cowboys, particularly the defense, it was as advertised. No surprise there. We have them ranked as number 1. Jets, they were also in that category. Very solid. The only thing now is because they lost Aaron Rodgers from the offensive perspective, how much can Zach Wilson live up to the potential and the hype of the Jets offense with all of the weapons that he has? Again, with Aaron Rodgers, if the expectation was high, but with Zach Wilson, that expectation is lowered. And how much lowered remains to be seen because of he was the one that Aaron Rodgers replaced. So what he does will be extremely important, as well as what he doesn't do will be extremely important to the Jets' success this year. Dolphins, they won a shootout. That was pretty much expected. The shootout was the winner, was going to come down basically to the final drive. And the Dolphins pulled that out. Tua seems to be on a mission. He was headed that way last season as we predicted. But again, that injury with concussions really set him back last season. And this year he seems to be more in tune and on a mission. So look out for the Dolphins to go extremely far this season. The rookie QBs, Stroud, Richardson, Young, they all struggle. But again, they're rookies, so we expect them to struggle, particularly early in the season because they have to get their feet wet. They got to get used to the pace. It's entirely different from college, so they just have to get used to it. But all in all, they should still be good later in the season. As far as our picks from last week pertaining to who to start, who to bench, we only got 40% correct. That's extremely low for us. We like to stay 70% and above, but right now for week 1, 40%. So we're looking to improve that definitely this coming week in week 2. Week 2. Now listen carefully. All is not lost in week 1. Week 1 is just week 1. We have, from a fantasy perspective, many more weeks to go, particularly 14 more or 13 more weeks to play. Because again, there's an 18-week NFL season, but only 17 games are played. And fantasy traditionally cuts off fantasy's regular season. Normally, most leagues have their playoffs starting around week 15 or even some in week 14. So you're good. So you're good. You should still be good. Again, the draft doesn't win or lose your season. It's what you do during the season, the adjustments that you make, how you pay attention to the potential of players as well as their normal productivity. So week 1's underperformers should perform well in week 2. That's just the nature of the ebb and flow. So people like Burrow, Jackson, those that didn't put out enough fantasy points last week, they should put out way more this week. So be patient. Those week 1 winners, they're trash talkers. They're talking about how they're going to win the league, how they're going to go undefeated, how they're the greatest of all time, etc., etc. You know how it goes. So even you've probably been that person at one time or another. So week 2 sheds a little bit more light on the season. So simply be patient. Question: is your NFL team winning the Super Bowl this season? If so, then you better get your new gear for the new season. NFL Shop is providing with your new favorite team's apparel this season. Use the link below or scan the QR code to see a huge inventory of NFL teams apparel. Discount codes will be available throughout the season, so use the link. Shop now. Next, let's look at our hot reads, which is mainly our must start. Now, keep in mind, our must starts are players that we look to have a big week as far as fantasy points. Now, of course, your studs, your Patrick Mahomes, those guys, you already know to start. So we shouldn't have to tell you to start those guys. So this list normally consists of, it may consist of some studs here and there, but mainly those that are kind of being slept on a little bit or may not have that normal potential of being a high fantasy point getter. So thus in week 2, here are the players. We got Tua versus the Patriots, Amari Cooper versus the Steelers, Jordan Love versus the Falcons, Jamal Williams versus the Panthers, Damon Pierce versus the Colts. IDP and DST, we're looking at Micah Parsons versus the Jets, the Ravens defense versus the Bengals, and the Dallas defense versus the Jets as well. All in all, again, week 2 is more about patience. So take a look at these hot reads. Use them if you have them. If they're available on the waiver wire, definitely go and pick them up. Most of them aren't, but if they are, definitely pick them up. Don't necessarily worry about trading right now. Again, it's early in the season. Do not panic. If you panic, most likely you're just going to increase your chances of failure. And that's simple to us, but again, we have to state that. Week 2, again, simple approach. Be patient. This is Dub FFG, Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies. Till next time. When you look in the mirror, do you see a GOAT? Are you the best that fantasy football has to offer? If so, then wear it on your chest. Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies has new arrivals for the new fantasy season. See the link in the description or scan the QR code. Pick up your gear now. Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies.